director of SETA DC and SETA DC staff in Washington. Democratic open war initiative is a truly new phenomenon in Turkey. Its main axis is Kurdish issue. And there's no other issue which has been, we've been through last 3 years especially, can resemble and explain this new and old Turkey axis and how it's confronting. We're at the beginning. New Turkey is at the very beginning. In Kurdish issue, we have some initial sentences and steps, but there are too much way to go. Its main target is put an end to ongoing violence and bloodshed. And to achieve this target, Turkey needs legal reforms, political reforms, maybe even some social restructuring. And definitely this transformation and change is not easy, because if this takes place at the end, we will have a different state. And not only a different state, also the actors of Kurdish issue, mainly PKK and political parties, will be different too. So it is understandable there will be a change, at the same time resistance, there will be a roadmaps, and at the same time provocations. But we are at an important juncture in Kurdish question, just like how it used to be in 1993 and in 1999. I believe any familiar fellows will notice these those years. In 1993, we were at the merge of some kind of deal during the Özal period. And unfortunately, we missed out. In the same way, the opportunity that came up with the arrest of Abdullah Öcalan in 1999 was lost due to incumbent ruling of the process by a weak coalition government of the time. Since AK Party swept the power in 2002, though with ups and downs, Turkey's Kurdish question has ascended to top of the agenda again. In this period, Kurdish question could only be resolved if handled as separate issue of its own. This is mean to that Kurdish question, PKK, Northern Iraq, terrorism, security, democracy, there are many titles. Civil initiative, democratic initiative, military issues. I mean, we were what's supposed to, or we must, assess all these titles in their own agenda and context, but everything was intertwined. And democratic initiative, which is initiated in last 2 years by August 2009, has provided a positive political environment for discussion of Kurdish question after a long period of obscuration of issue, both media and the state. In doing so, it touched upon all those sore issues, primarily Kurdish question, enjoying immunity from security of the political. All we know that at this stage we are far from the solution. But what was happened in the last 2 years was a big transformation, because this is sad to say, but in 10, 15 years ago, we were not even able to speak the issue itself by naming it. Since the advent of solution process, the most surprising development was the actors related to the Kurdish problem have gained more priority than the question itself. And we may speak about Kurdish issue in a very detailed manner, but in 10 minutes I will just try to focus on this actors issue. In other words, Kurdish question has nearly become secondary to desires of actors. It is exactly why democratization process could not reach out to Kurdish question. It was actorness struggle that kept necessary steps from being taken. And who are those actors? Three dynamics we can list it: state, the dynamics of Kurdish issue, PKK, political party, etc. And Kurds living in other countries, and international actors, mainly United States, some European countries, and some regional actors, all having their own actorness problem prior to Kurdish issue itself. On the part of the state, the number of actors has been diminishing recently. This doesn't mean, by the way, elimination. They're just what? Diminishing with their claims. I mean, they're not as provocative as before. This has led to elimination of possibility of provocation of the solution formulas by different actors. Both EU and determined position of the government helped this in recent years. Particularly in the last 2 years, the process that began with confrontation with coup d'etats moved on with referendum on constitutional amendments. These moves strengthened civilian power while weakening anti-democratic dynamics, which in turn normalized Turkish political life. Another important development of this new period was rapprochement among state elites on the issues of military significance. This rapprochement is also salient in National Security Council statements. That's quite important because it was almost impossible to imagine 15 years ago National Security Council producing a statement, maybe not bluntly and openly mentioning Kurdish issue or how to find a solution, but at least they did not openly provocate when the process itself declared. In this respect, it's now more likely that government, opposition, Turkish armed forces, intelligence, police, judiciary, media, maybe there are other actors, will cluster among state wisdom, which is more democratic, that appears in those statements. This was not an easy process, though, but this process could move on due to firm commitment on the part of government in spite of all the risks. There are coup d'etat attempts last 5 years, and big debates, accusations. But at the end, right now, we can claim that those actors who can easily provocate as not powerful as they did before. However, on the part of Kurdish issue and its dynamics, let's say Kurdish organizations, the number of actors is far from decreasing. The transformative will displayed by AK Party on the Kurdish question is absent in that flank. There are, and this list can be what detailed, but let's say 5 major actors in this flank. Candle Mountain, as you know, where PKK is right now, the military wing. Abdullah Öcalan, Peace and Democracy Party, KCK, Union of Communities in Kurdistan, and Europe. And these actors be persuaded separately. What's more is that there are various sub-actors within each group. In fact, it seems that disintegration within PKK and BDP is likely to grow due to existing divergent positions in each group. Even if we put aside different opinions within these groups, the divergent positions between each these 5 major actors are not of a leader. Each of these actors continued their existence by sometimes building alliances with some of the others and sometimes by overriding others. The latest example of this, very good example, is the constitutional amendment process. A couple of actors, they changed their minds, they agreed on issues, etc. But you don't see a united approach through democratization process. And also when democratic initiative started, launched, and just a couple months later, we had some terrible provocative events, which is one was Rashadiya, and latest one is in right before September 12th constitutional referendum. And it happened in a both way. 9 PKK militants killed, then 9 or 12 civilians killed, etc. So, I mean, there are still actors who are acting